Alright, so I noticed a lot of people catching onto this tech where you crawl on a wall and your jetpack boost up because you're headed in that direction. And it's kind of a nice way to get out of a thing, like a bad situation, or just getting somewhere you need to go, getting up high to heal somebody, shooting someone, anything like that. But what it's actually best for is literally just free movement. In reality, you do not need to go straight up like this every time, and I'm sure some people know about that already. You can use this to move in any direction. Like this, side to side, diagonals, or you can even go down. The only problem is, due to the way his dash works, if you collide with certain terrain, like this side here, you will instantly stop and waste your dash, which screws you over in the process. You probably kill yourself. I've been playing since the alpha, and a lot of things have changed about this tech. The first time I found it, it actually
guys
works
are about to shoot at us.
from how it does now. Right now, you can do it in any direction, just like in the past, except what you don't have is transitioning into his wall ride, which would have been nice to have right. Instead, they made it so that your wall run is much smoother on every surface. Now, this will break on certain surfaces like this here, where it doesn't actually connect to this top platform. Sometimes it'll just break like just now, sometimes you'll keep going. But what people don't know about the wall ride right now, I assume a lot of people don't know, is that based on the options you select in Rocket's specific settings, it's either based on moving vertically upward, which it will do all the time on the setting I'm on right now, or it will follow your crosshair, which I really don't prefer because there's things that you can't do if you're facing the crosshair while you're running. I really don't recommend it. For one thing, you cannot look around while you're running on the wall. It will look towards your crosshair. So if you're running in this direction and you want to look over there, you're not going to run in this direction. You're going to run over there. That's worse. What the crosshair follow
Those guys are about to shoot at us.
You can run on surfaces that this setting usually wouldn't do on its own, but there's really nothing that you can't run on as long as you change the direction of your camera, which is partially why Rocket's wall ride breaks on some surfaces that you normally can ride on. It just depends on which way you're facing. For example, this surface here, this is something that's pretty hard to ride on normally if you don't change the direction of your camera like I'm doing now. See how smooth it is like this? Now try it without moving the camera. Now I'm going to try it facing the other way. See how it breaks instantly like that? He won't even try. It's because he goes vertically upward, but it's based on the way your camera is facing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do it upward at all. Now onto how the jetpack dash works alongside this. As versatile as this tech is, you still need to learn pretty much every surface, every map's terrain, how every single wall works that you would ever need the wall ride on. Otherwise, what you'll do is you'll keep doing this, or you'll run into a rock or a random surface, and you'll lose your dash, you'll die, and you won't know what to do anytime you ever run into a surface that you don't understand. When you use the jetpack dash off of a wall ride, the direction you go in is actually based on the way Rocket himself is facing when you press the button. So when he's facing sideways like this, he's going to go sideways like this. If he's facing away from the wall, diagonally like that, because of how that column is, he'll actually bounce in that direction instead. Otherwise, if you do it too early, you won't go anywhere. You have to wait until Rocket's body starts to turn. And you have a lot of time to do it because of how slow he turns while he's running. But you gotta do it properly. See how I just bounced upward off that one? Columns like this and pillars are the hardest to do this tech on. Even though it's easy to do it, it's hard to actually pinpoint which way you're gonna go. And I think we should start with Eastgard, the Royal Palace. That actually is probably the easiest map for Rocket to get out of spawn on. It has a couple of pillars that you can just bounce right off of. It doesn't really take much effort.
Pick here.
And this has to be the easiest map to just get out of as fast as possible. There's two pillars right here in the doorway that you can use. You can use either one. All you have to do is right across there. Take another dash here, another dash there, and you should have another one by the time you get up there. Now, normally your last dash is going to be on cooldown. So by the time you get to this window, you have another one to get up to high ground. Or you can go down to here, anywhere you want to go. And so you can use this side as well. You can just go like this. But like I said, he's facing that direction when he goes off of this door frame. So he's going to dash in that direction. Now, if you were to want to go towards this wall as fast as possible, you can do that too. Again, Rocket's facing direction determines where he dashes. So if you wait a little bit, you you go closer to the wall when you dash because he's turning around the corner. That's pretty important because that determines exactly where you're gonna go. So if you do it too long, or if you do it too early or too late, you'll either go too far or you'll get too close. See, that was too far, and that one was too close. That one was perfect. We're right on the wall, and then you ride up like this, go to this wall, and then you should, by the time you get to that window over there, have one more dash left. Alright, now Spider Islands, probably mid-range difficulty as far as moving around. Once you get to certain areas like this area, there really isn't anywhere you can go that makes it easy to do this tech.
Once we get this,
but again, once you learn the terrain and things you can use to bounce around, it gets a lot easier to start figuring out how to get away from these carries, how to get out of bad situations, and how to get to your carries to heal as fast as possible. My normal route out of spawn here is actually to use this and go forward, or you can use this, which is a little bit harder, and go up top, which can scoot forward a little bit just like that. That route's much harder to do because you only have about half a second to react to this shit. This is a very small wall. You only get like a little bit of time, and remember you have to tilt your body towards that upper part to get up there. So see how fast you have to do it there? I missed it just letting it go a little bit. And if you do it wrong, you'll bounce back up here. One thing people aren't actually going to know when they first try this stuff is that you don't want to jump late when you want to hit a wall like this, because if you jump late, obviously, either you're going to be inaccurate with the wall, or you'll go too high like that.
They've made it halfway!
Or you get to the wall and then just hold jump, and you won't miss it as well. That's another route you can use right there as well. But again, that one's diagonal, you have to go upward as well. And it's a little bit harder to react to that. See, there are a bunch of special locations that I often use to dash upward and up into the air and things like that. This wall specifically is very good for this because, again, this wall, since there is a little bit of a gap there, the terrain goes back. So you'll face backwards when you dash.
They hit a checkpoint. Now might be a good time to stop them.
You need to get away from them. You're going to dash back towards that door. But if you wait too late or do it too early, you'll go over. So you got to be really careful and really fast to react to that. But again, moving diagonally fixes a lot of problems. You want to move diagonally with your wall run. Most of the time, if you're moving diagonally, it won't break where you're going, depending on what kind of terrain you're on. But if you go straight up, it'll give you much more problems. In the alpha and beta, this also was the case, but his wall run was way less stable back then. See, this is another surface that you actually can't really use that leniently. But in some spots, you can get up on top of the wall if you go diagonal. However, if you try to jetpack dash past it, it's not going to work. See, you have to know all the terrain, you got to jump on everything, you got to try everything. Now, some surfaces like this can be very hard to figure out because you'll never know where you're going to crawl, or where there's going to be an invisible wall, or where you might just bounce off of it and it breaks. And at that point, if you waste your dash, you're going to get yourself killed. Practicing on this surface, something like this, where you actually have a lot of options to move, is very nice. However, you're still going to get yourself killed if you don't know where you're going. If you go down forward or down left or down right while you're doing this, you will move along the ground instead of breaking your momentum, like that. This is pretty useful because there's some slopes and some areas that you have to do this, or else you won't be able to move anywhere. And this actually is one of those. So you can actually go up forward off this, or I think you can go up forward off this, but in some situations you need to go this way, right? See that staircase there? Oh boy, I trapped myself. Whoa, what an idiot. Well, instead of doing that, you can just go diagonal and stop yourself a little bit. Or some surfaces, like this one works, right? Yep, so you can do that too. But if you're too high, or if the surface you're on doesn't support it, sometimes you won't move properly. So you really just have to test it out. You gotta try everything. Now, once again, we have two pillars, or at least this is a door frame, so you have two sides that you can work
30
with.
seconds before you attack.
Out of this spawn,
Get ready.
There really isn't a bad choice here. They both head to the same location, except one of them leads to the big pillar in the middle here. Now, once again, you just have to pace your body appropriately. You can still go this way if you want. Actually, this is pretty nice to get to cover. See, it goes right to cover. You can put the beacon right here if you want to. Not the greatest spot. They can easily come back here and hit it and stay cover. Maybe a Psylocke gets to it, but that's still a decent spot. And it takes you 1 dash to get there instead of what would be 2 normally like this. See, not even there yet. It takes 2 whole dashes and you're not even there yet. Now on this side, you can lead yourself right over here by going straight, which puts you right where the payload would normally be, or it puts you right in front of your tanks. You can make it straight to this wall, which actually allows you to keep going once you get back onto it. Or you can go here, which sends you around the corner. This is actually a pretty nice spot too. You can put the beacon here.
Relay deployed.
Or you can just fight off whoever's here, or heal your teammates, whatever. There we go. See? Straight through the doorway. That's definitely one of the hardest shots to make from here. But if you do get it right, look at the perfect positioning you have off of 1 dash. This would take you 2 dashes. You're still not even at the same spot that 1 dash would have taken you to. But the precision on this, it's definitely going to take you a while. Alright, now Clintar is by far the hardest map for this character to move on. There's so many surfaces where his wall run either doesn't work, the jetpack dash doesn't work properly, or you just can't move. Like, this spawn is definitely the hardest spawn to move from. Even the other side on the attacker spawn is easier than this. See, you don't really have a choice from here. You can do that, but from here, you can dash from here, but you're kind of wasting your time since you don't really have anything past that wall to dash from. Try this. So you'll run into the wall here. You can do that, but again, there's just no sort of space here for you to do anything. You could try this one, but again, you don't have much space to crawl to get into an accurate dash. See, you can do that, but that takes you a while. You're going to already be on the wall, crawling towards it to do that. You might not need to. Say you could do it from here, but I don't recommend trying it on Clintar that much unless you're really, really used to it. I'm still getting used to this area. And see, even from this doorway, there really isn't a choice. You can go that way, but you have to make sure you time it properly or else you're fucked. If you do this, you can go this way, but the optimal direction would go straight to point that way. There's this wall, but look at what's right here blocking you. That's blocking you right there. So you can try it, but you might run into the pillar, and you can't use this pillar. This pillar sucks. You cannot use this pillar to get anywhere. Clintar does have a great area here for wall riding, but as you can tell, this is all a cylinder. So when you try to jetpack dash on the walls, you're probably going to end up doing this. You don't really have a choice. You kind of have to just ball ride this out and hope it'll shoot you if you ever get in a situation where you have to run around and try not to die. You can go down forward a little bit more, and you can do things like this, where you go towards the doorway and you might slide a little bit, or you can use this little pillar here and kind of dash down. But good luck.